Ethan Carter never imagined that one stupid night, one stupid bet, would drag him into the deepest emotional storm of his life. But as he stood inside a crowded New York rooftop bar under the golden glow of Manhattan lights, he had no idea his whole future was about to be set on fire. Ethan, a 32-year-old tech millionaire, wasn't a bad man, just bored, surrounded by friends who thrived on ego, money, and meaningless stares. And that night, his best friend Mason made a bet loud enough for the entire VIP section to hear. "Bet you won't marry her." Mason smirked, pointing toward a woman sitting alone by the window, a plus-size woman in a navy dress, quietly reading a book while the rest of the bar buzzed around her. Ethan glanced at her. She looked peaceful, confident. Not pretending, not performing, just existing. Something about that annoyed Mason and impressed Ethan, but Ethan didn't think. He acted. "What's the stake?" Ethan asked, already regretting the question. "$1 million.
Cash. On you if you chicken out.
On me if you go through with it." The table erupted. Phones came out. Shots poured. It was all noise, stupid, reckless noise. Ethan didn't need the money. But his pride? That was a different story. He walked toward her. Her name, he learned, was Lena Brooks, a 29-year-old elementary school teacher from Brooklyn. Warm smile, steady voice, eyes that held stories she wasn't ready to reveal. She didn't fit the flashy Manhattan scene. "I'm just waiting on a friend," she told him, closing her book with a shy smile. Ethan didn't know why he kept talking. Maybe it was the way she listened. Maybe it was the way she didn't seem impressed by him at all. Maybe, just maybe, it was guilt, but by the time her friend didn't show and Ethan offered her a ride home, he had already crossed a line he couldn't uncross. Over the next weeks, Ethan kept seeing Lena. At first, for the bet. But then something felt different.
The ease.
The laughter. The way she made him feel grounded instead of hollow. But his friends didn't let him forget the game. "You're halfway there." Mason laughed when Ethan showed Lena the ring. "I can't believe you're actually doing this." Ethan wanted to punch him. Instead, he stayed silent. Lena said yes. So sweetly, so genuinely. That guilt crawled up Ethan's throat like poison. She introduced him to her sister, her students, her world. She believed in him, trusted him, loved him, and Ethan knew he didn't deserve any of it. But on the night before the wedding, something happened that Ethan didn't expect. Something that froze his blood cold. Lena called him, her voice shaking. "Ethan, we need to talk."
Tomorrow.
Before the ceremony. "There's something you need to know." Cliffhanger. Her voice wasn't soft. It wasn't SHYT was serious, almost scared, and Ethan had no idea that Lena's secret would change everything. On the morning of the wedding, Ethan Carter woke up with a weight crushing his chest. Not excitement, not nerves, guilt. The kind that clawed at him from the inside. He wasn't supposed to fall for Lena Brooks. He wasn't supposed to care. He definitely wasn't supposed to feel sick about the truth. The sun hadn't fully risen over Manhattan yet when he paced his penthouse, staring at the skyline like it had answers. Today was the day he would marry a woman he didn't deserve, and worse, a woman who had trusted him with her whole heart, her message replayed in his mind. "There's something you need to know," before the ceremony. He couldn't imagine what that meant. She didn't sound angry. She sounded scared, and that terrified him more than anything. By 10 a.m., Ethan was driving toward Brooklyn. The brownstones, the narrow streets, the smell of coffee from corner cafes. It was nothing like the world he belonged to. And yet, it felt more real than anything he'd ever known. Lena lived in a modest 2-story apartment building. When she opened the door, she wasn't in her wedding dress. She wore jeans, a soft sweater, and her hair in a loose bun. Her eyes were slightly red. "Come in," she said quietly. Ethan's stomach dropped. She led him to the kitchen table where 2 cups of untouched tea sat. She took a deep breath, her hands shaking slightly. "Ethan, I haven't been fully honest with you." His heart hammered. "Here it comes," he thought. Lena looked down at her hands. Before all this, I was in a relationship. A serious one." Ethan blinked. That wasn't what he expected. "His name was Daniel," she continued, voice trembling. "We dated for 3 years. He didn't like my body.
He criticized everything about me.
My weight, my clothes, my dreams, even how I laughed. She swallowed hard. When I finally left him, I promised myself I'd never let a man make me feel small again. Ethan felt something twist sharply inside him. She had no idea he was the walking embodiment of that betrayal. The bet. The cruel joke. Lena took another breath. 2 months ago, he came back. Showed up at my school. My apartment. He begged for another chance, and when I refused, he threatened me. Ethan's jaw tightened. Threatened you how? Her voice cracked. He said if he couldn't have me, no one could. Ethan's blood ran cold. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to bring drama into your life, she whispered. But last night, he sent me this. She slid her phone across the table. A single message glowed on the screen. You think he's marrying you out of love? Ask him why he really chose you. Ethan's heart stopped. Lena watched him closely now, her eyes searching his face, her voice trembling. Ethan, what is he talking about? The question hung heavy in the air, like a knife suspended above both of them. Lena waited, hoping his answer would save her faith. Ethan waited, praying she couldn't see the truth in his eyes. But before he could speak, a loud knock hit the door. .3 slow, deliberate bangs. Lena's face drained of color. Ethan stood up instantly. Cliffhanger. From the other side of the door came a cold, familiar voice. Lena, open up. We're not done. It was Daniel, and he wasn't alone. The pounding on the door echoed through Lena's small Brooklyn apartment like a warning bell. 3 slow knocks that carried too much confidence, too much ownership. Ethan froze. Lena's breath hitched. And outside, Daniel waited like a shadow that finally caught up. Stay here, Ethan whispered. Lena grabbed his wrist. Please don't make him angry. That one sentence told Ethan everything he needed to know. Daniel wasn't just an ex. He was a threat Lena had been battling alone. Another set of knocks, harder this time, shook the door. Lena, Daniel's voice oozed through the thin wood. We need to finish our conversation. Ethan moved forward. Lena grabbed him again, more firmly this time. Ethan, please. He doesn't handle confrontation well. He turned to her, his voice low. You don't have to be afraid of him anymore. But he knew she was. He could feel her trembling. He approached the door and looked through the peephole. Daniel stood there, tall, lean, dressed in a black hoodie. He had the sharp eyes of a man who felt entitled to whatever he wanted. But what unsettled Ethan more was the other figure behind him, a second man, face half hidden, hands in his pockets, watching the hallway with eerie stillness. This wasn't just an ex throwing a tantrum. This felt planned. Daniel knocked again. Lena, I can hear you in there. Don't be rude. Ethan's jaw clenched. He cracked the door just 2 inches, enough for Daniel to see his face. Daniel blinked once. His calm expression cracked for the first time. Ethan Carter. Millionaire Ethan Carter. His lips twisted. Of course. Ethan didn't flinch. Lena doesn't want to talk to you. Leave. Daniel leaned forward just enough for Ethan to smell the mint gum he was chewing. This doesn't concern you. It does now. A slow, mocking smile crept across Daniel's face. I wondered why a guy like you would be marrying her. He shifted his gaze toward Lena, who stood behind Ethan, holding herself together. But I guess I already know. Ethan stiffened. Daniel whispered, the bet. Lena's sharp inhale behind him felt like a dagger. Ethan's entire chest collapsed. Daniel tilted his head. You didn't think I'd find out? This city is small. People talk. Especially drunk rich boys. Lena stepped forward, her voice trembling. What is he saying? Ethan didn't turn. He couldn't. His throat felt locked. Daniel grinned like he was enjoying every second. That he never loved you. That you've always been a joke. Ethan finally snapped. He shoved the door fully open and stepped into Daniel's space. Say her name like that again. The second man behind Daniel shifted slightly, hand still in his pocket. Ethan stopped. Lena pulled him back inside.
Ethan, please.
Her voice cracked. Don't do this. Daniel raised his hands innocently. Relax. I'm just here to help her see the truth. Ethan glared. You have 5 seconds to leave. Daniel's eyes hardened. Or what? Ethan took one step forward. Daniel leaned in and whispered, "You'll regret this marriage more than she will." Then he smiled one last time and walked away, the second man trailing behind him. Ethan shut the door quickly, locking all three deadbolts. Silence settled in.
Thick.
Suffocating, Lena finally spoke. Her voice was broken. "Ethan, tell me he's lying." A single tear slipped down her cheek. "Tell me I wasn't a bet." Ethan opened his mouth, but a buzzing phone cut through the air. His phone, a new message. From Mason, a picture. A screenshot of the original bet text thread from months ago, now forwarded to Lena's number. Ethan's heart stopped. Cliffhanger. Behind him, he heard Lena whisper 4 words that shattered everything. "I want the truth." Ethan had always believed he was good under pressure. Board meetings, negotiations, billion-dollar decisions. But standing in Lena's warm little Brooklyn kitchen while she stared at him with trembling eyes, he couldn't breathe. This wasn't pressure. This was punishment. The phone buzzed again in his hand. Another forwarded message from Mason. "Show her, bro. She deserves it." Ethan silently cursed Mason, cursed himself, cursed that night on the rooftop that had dragged him into this nightmare. Lena wiped a tear with her sleeve and whispered, "Ethan, I'm only going to ask this once.
Please don't lie to me."
He looked at her. Really looked. The woman who had brought quiet into his noisy life. Who had loved him without trying to impress him, without caring about his money, his reputation, or his mistakes. And he had built their entire relationship on a lie. Ethan swallowed hard. "Lena, I need you to sit down." Her breath hitched. "Oh God." She pulled out a chair, but didn't sit. She held the back of it like she needed it to stay standing. Ethan set the phone on the table, face down. "It started as a dare. A stupid drunken night. I never planned for it to go this far." Lena's hands slowly dropped from the chair. Her voice was hollow. "So it's true." "Lena, please listen." She stepped back as if his voice physically hurt her. "I was a bet to you." "No," he said quickly. "It was a bet in the beginning, yes, but after the first week." She laughed, a sharp, broken sound. "The first week? You're timing your betrayal?" He tried to walk toward her. She held up a shaking hand. "Don't." He froze. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I told you things about me, things I've never told anyone else. I trusted you. And the whole time you were laughing with your friends behind my back." "I wasn't," Ethan said desperately. "I swear, Lena. I stopped the bet. I tried to end it. But did you tell me?" Her eyes filled again. "Did you give me the truth before I gave you my heart?" He had no answer, and silence, heavy, thick, became the answer she feared. Lena wrapped her arms around herself. "I thought Daniel broke me." Her voice shook. "But what you didn't just break my heart, Ethan. You broke my faith in myself." He felt the words like knives. "Lena, I care about you. I love you." "Don't," she said sharply. "Don't use that word. You don't get to be the hero in this story. Not after what you did." Ethan's throat burned. "Tell me what to do. I'll fix this. I'll burn every bridge with them. You can't fix a lie," she whispered. "You can only accept the damage it caused." She walked to the front door and unlocked it. "Leave." Ethan's heart cracked. "Lena, please." "I deserve a man who chooses me," she said softly. "Not one who wins me." The words shattered him. He tried to step closer, but she turned away, shoulders trembling, holding herself like she was the only thing keeping her upright. Ethan finally walked out, the cold Brooklyn hallway swallowing him whole. But just as he reached the stairs, a loud crash erupted from inside Lena's apartment. Glass breaking. Something falling. Ethan spun around, heart in his throat. Cliffhanger. A scream tore through the door. Lena's scream. And then, silence. Ethan didn't think, he reacted. The sound of Lena's scream sliced through him like a blade. 1 second, he was in the hallway, drowning in heartbreak. The next, he was slamming his shoulder into her apartment door with all the force his fear could give him. "Lena? Lena!" The door didn't budge at first. Then, crack, the deadbolt snapped. He stumbled inside. The living room was chaos, a lamp shattered on the floor. A chair turned over. Lena's phone lying in pieces by the front rug, and Lena, gone. Ethan's chest tightened until he could barely breathe. Lena. He rushed to the kitchen, the bathroom, her bedroom. Empty. Every room empty. His hands shook. Panic clawed at his throat. He took a deep breath, trying to force his brain to work. Daniel. It had to be Daniel. The knock earlier. The veiled threats. The creepy silent guy behind him. The timing was too perfect. Ethan grabbed his phone to call 911, but then he noticed something on the kitchen counter, a folded note. One he hadn't seen earlier. His stomach sank as he opened it. She didn't tell you everything either. If you want her back, follow the truth she hid from you. No signature, but the handwriting, tight, angry, almost carved into the paper, was Daniel's. Ethan's blood boiled. He didn't think. He dialed Lena's sister, Maya, who answered on the second ring. Ethan? Why are you calling? Lena's getting ready. Maya, he cut in, voice raw. Lena's missing. The silence on the line was instant and terrifying. What do you mean missing? There was a break-in. I heard her scream. When I got inside, she was gone. Maya gasped. Oh my God. Did Daniel? I think so, Ethan said through clenched teeth. He was here earlier. He threatened her. Maya's voice trembled. Lena didn't want me involved. She didn't want anyone getting hurt. Ethan's heart dropped. What are you talking about? Maya hesitated. She was keeping something from you. Ethan stiffened. What? It's not my place, Maya's voice cracked. But she wasn't just afraid of Daniel because he was her ex. She was afraid of what he knows. Ethan felt a cold sweat drip down his back. Maya, tell me. Before she could answer, he heard a noise behind him, a faint scrape at the half-open window. Someone was outside. Ethan turned slowly. A figure in a dark hoodie moved across the fire escape, stopping right at Lena's bedroom window. Ethan's phone slipped from his hand. The man saw him and ran. Ethan bolted after him, leaping over the shattered lamp, racing to the bedroom, and climbing out onto the fire escape. Hey! Stop, he shouted, feet pounding metal steps. The man, shorter than Daniel, faster than Ethan expected, vaulted down the ladder and sprinted across the alley. Ethan chased him, adrenaline driving him forward. The man darted into the street, cars honking, people shouting, and vanished behind a delivery truck. Ethan stopped in the middle of the road, chest heaving, heart racing like it wanted to break free. He'd lost him. But as he turned back toward Lena's apartment, something caught his eye, a small scrap of paper on the fire escape. He picked it up, the same handwriting as the note inside. 3rd Avenue Storage. Unit 47. Ethan's hands shook. That was in Queens. This wasn't random. This wasn't impulsive. Daniel had planned something bigger. Something darker. Ethan knew one thing for certain. He was going to find Lena. Nothing else mattered. Cliffhanger. But as he climbed back into her apartment, his phone lit up with a new message, a video from an unknown number. He pressed play, and the screen showed Lena, blindfolded, tied to a chair, crying his name. The video froze Ethan in place. His breath left his body so quickly it almost knocked him to the floor. Lena, tied to a chair, blindfolded, her wrists bound tight with thick rope, was trembling. Her voice was hoarse, broken, begging. Ethan, please help me. The screen shook as if someone holding the phone was breathing hard. A man's low chuckle echoed behind the camera, a sound that crawled under Ethan's skin like ice. Then the video cut to black. Ethan stood motionless in the wrecked apartment, every muscle in his body wired with rage and terror. He replayed the message, analyzing every detail. The room's dim lighting, the echo, the concrete floor. It didn't look like a basement, more like a storage unit. Unit 47, Queens, 3rd Avenue Storage. The scrap of paper wasn't a clue, it was a map. He called 911, reported the kidnapping, and gave every detail he could. But he knew police wouldn't get there fast enough. The system was slow. Daniel was not. He grabbed Lena's spare set of car keys from the bowl near the door and sprinted out of the building. Cold air slapped him as he reached the street. He jumped into Lena's old silver Honda Civic, started the engine, and peeled out of the parking spot. Manhattan traffic was its usual nightmare, and Ethan didn't have time for it. He zipped through lanes, ignoring honks, running one red light, his mind replaying Lena's cry. She needed him, and he had failed her once already. He would not fail her again. As he crossed the Queensboro Bridge, Ethan dialed Maya on speaker. She answered instantly.
Ethan?
Did you find anything? I got a video, he said, voice raw. She's tied up, blindfolded. Maya, Daniel has her. Oh my God, she whispered, choking on the words. Ethan? Lena wasn't just afraid of him. She was afraid he'd expose something from her past. Ethan's grip on the will tightened. What past? Maya hesitated. She was involved in something a few years ago. Something she didn't want anyone to know about. Daniel held it over her. Ethan's stomach clenched. What was it? I can't, she told me not to. Maya, he snapped. He's threatening her life. I don't have time. Maya's panicked breath shook through the speaker. She was involved in Daniel's business. Something illegal. She accidentally found something on his laptop, something that could get him arrested. She tried to leave him, but he kept the evidence. He threatened to destroy her life if she ever told anyone. Ethan felt cold all over. So this isn't just about obsession.
No, Maya whispered.
This is about control. Ethan swallowed the tightness in his throat. I'll get her back. You're going alone? Maya cried. Ethan, wait for the police. But he ended the call. He couldn't wait. Not when he had started the pain she was now drowning in. 10 minutes later, he pulled into the nearly empty parking lot of 3rd Avenue Storage. The building loomed tall and gray, each unit behind heavy metal doors. The cold wind whipped through the alley between buildings, carrying a faint metallic smell. Blood or fear? He couldn't tell. The digital clock above the office flickered 8:40, 2 p.m. The place was practically deserted. Ethan stepped out of the car and moved quickly, scanning unit numbers as he walked. 43, 44, 45. His heartbeat thundered. 46. He stopped at unit 47. The metal door was slightly open, just an inch. Just enough. He heard something inside, a muffled sob. Lena. He placed his hand on the door, slow, quiet, careful, and then a whisper from inside froze him. Thought you'd be smarter than this, Carter. Daniel, cliffhanger. The storage unit door slammed shut behind Ethan, and he realized too late he wasn't the one who closed it. Someone was standing behind him, and he wasn't alone. The metal door clanged shut behind Ethan, sealing him inside the cold, echoing storage unit. The sound reverberated like a death sentence. He spun around, fists clenched, but the darkness swallowed everything except a faint strip of light at the top of the door. Someone was behind him, someone breathing slowly, deliberately. Ethan forced his voice steady. Daniel, let her go. A low laugh echoed from the shadows. You walked right in, just like I knew you would. Ethan's eyes adjusted slowly to the dim light flickering from a single overhead bulb. The unit wasn't big. Concrete floor, metal walls, the smell of dust, and something else, something sharp. Fear. His eyes locked on Lena first. She sat in the center of the unit, tied to a metal chair, blindfolded, dried tears streaking her face. Her breathing was shallow, frantic. Her wrists were bound tight, rope digging red marks into her skin. Ethan, she whispered. Ethan, is that you? Ethan stepped toward her instinctively, but a figure moved out of the shadows, blocking his path. Daniel, tall, gaunt, eyes glowing with a twisted satisfaction, but he wasn't alone. Next to him stood the hooded man from earlier, bigger, silent, hands hidden in his pockets. Daniel tilted his head like a vulture waiting to feed. You ruined everything, Ethan. I had Lena exactly where I wanted her. Afraid of me. Dependent on me. She was supposed to come back. She left you because you're abusive, Ethan said through gritted teeth. She left because you don't own her. Daniel grinned, the kind of grin that didn't reach his eyes. Don't I? He walked slowly behind Lena and placed a hand on her shoulder. She flinched violently. Ethan's blood boiled. Touch her again and I swear. You'll what? Daniel mocked. You're rich, Ethan. Not dangerous. But the way his partner shifted closer made Ethan realize something chilling. This wasn't about love. This wasn't even about revenge. This was about power. Daniel circled around, pacing like a man enjoying a show only he understood. Lena had something of mine. Something I needed back. She stole information from me. Files that could destroy everything I built. She was protecting herself. Ethan snapped. Daniel smirked. From me? She loved me. She was supposed to. Lena's voice cracked. You hurt me, Daniel. I wasn't safe with you. His smile twitched, anger flickering beneath the surface. And you think you're safe with him? Daniel jabbed a finger at Ethan. The guy who bet on you like some carnival prize? Ethan flinched. Lena whimpered. The truth still hung between them like a ghost. Daniel stepped close enough that Ethan could smell the mint gum again. I didn't even have to ruin your relationship. You did that all by yourself. Ethan's hands shook, but not from fear, rage. Daniel saw it and smiled wider. You came here thinking you'd be the hero, but you don't get to save her. He lifted something from the table behind him, a long, coiled extension cord, and plugged it in. A faint electrical buzz filled the air. Lena's breath hitched. Ethan took a step forward. Daniel held up a hand. Try anything, and she gets hurt first. The hooded man took out a knife. Small, sharp, gleaming. Ethan froze, his mind raced. He needed a plan. He needed to get Lena out. A distant noise interrupted his thoughts. Sirens, far away, but approaching. Daniel hissed. You call the cops? Ethan didn't respond. His silence was answer enough. Daniel stepped behind Lena and pressed the knife-wielding man's arm forward until the blade hovered inches from her throat. Lena whimpered Ethan's name. Daniel's voice dropped to a chilling whisper. Then we're speeding things up. Cliffhanger. The hooded man reached for Lena, and Daniel lunged toward Ethan. Darkness exploded. Ethan didn't sleep that night. He kept replaying the look on Claire's face, disbelief mixed with betrayal, as she stood on the lawn holding his phone. The screenshots Lauren had sent him. The messages he never wanted her to see. The remnants of the bet he had tried so desperately to erase from his life. BY morning. The California sun was already bright, but their home felt darker than ever. Claire hadn't come back to the house. Ethan checked the guest room again. Empty. Checked the kitchen. Silent. Checked the garage. Her car was gone. His chest tightened. She left. Just when he was about to grab his keys and search for her, his phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. Meet me at Harbor Point, 10 a.m. You owe Claire the truth. The pit in his stomach grew. There was only one person whose name started with M that connected to the bet. Mark. The same Mark from his bachelor party. The same Mark who had created the stupid bet in the first place. And the same Mark who had always hated that Ethan stopped talking to him after the wedding. Ethan drove to Harbor Point, his hands shaking the whole way. The ocean breeze was sharp and cold, and Mark was already waiting near the railing, arms crossed, sunglasses on like he owned the place. You look rough, Mark said. Bad night. Ethan ignored the jab. Where's Claire? Mark chuckled. Relax. She's safe. She came to me. Ethan's heart slammed. She what? Oh, don't look so surprised. When a woman learns her husband married her because of a bet, she tends to want answers. Lucky for her, I had all of them. Ethan's fists clenched. You had no right. I had every right, Mark snapped back. You made me the villain in this whole thing. You stopped hanging out. Stopped calling. Started pretending you were a saint who turned his life around. You think you're better than us now. This isn't about you, Ethan said sharply. It's about Claire. Mark leaned in.
Exactly.
And she deserved the truth. The whole truth. That you weren't the sweet, caring husband she thought. You married her to win a bet. You bet you could wife up someone out of your league just to prove a point. That was before I knew her, Ethan growled. Before everything changed. Mark shrugged like it was nothing. Doesn't matter. What matters is what she thinks now. Ethan stepped closer, voice low. Where is she, Mark? Mark smirked.
Why?
So you can spin some emotional fairy tale and make her forgive you. Ethan didn't look away. I want to fix what I broke. For a second, Mark's expression faltered, then, she's at the old lighthouse, he said. She wanted space. But she also wanted answers, real answers. She said she needed to know whether you ever truly loved her or whether you were just playing her the whole time. Ethan swallowed hard. And you told her? He asked. Mark's grin widened. Oh, I told her everything. Ethan felt his world tilt. What did you tell her? He whispered. Mark's sunglasses reflected the ocean as he answered. Enough to make her question everything you ever said. A cold wave of dread washed over Ethan. If Claire believed Mark's version of the story, he might have already lost her forever. The old lighthouse sat on the edge of the California coast, weathered by decades of storms. It used to be a tourist spot, but now it felt abandoned, quiet, lonely, and heartbreakingly fitting for what Ethan feared he was about to face. He parked his car and saw Claire's sedan tucked near the rocks. His pulse kicked. She's here. He climbed the worn steps of the lighthouse, each footstep echoing his guilt. When he reached the top level, he found her standing near the panoramic window, the Pacific wind pushing her hair forward. She didn't turn when he entered. Claire, he breathed. Her voice was calm, too calm. Mark told me everything. Ethan swallowed. I know. And I'm here to tell you the truth. She finally turned, her eyes swollen from hours of crying. Then start with this. She held up her phone. Is it true? The bet. The reason you married me, was it a joke to you? The pain in her voice sliced through him. No. Ethan said immediately. Claire, the bet was before I knew you. Before I even met you. But you agreed to it. Her voice cracked. You agreed to marry someone you thought was beneath you, someone you thought would be easy to control because your friends dared you? It wasn't like that, Ethan tried. It was stupid, yes. It was immature. I was immature. But I swear to you, I never thought of you that way. Her expression twisted with hurt. But you chose me. No, he whispered. I found you. And everything changed. She looked away, gripping the rail to steady herself. The ocean wind filled the silence between them. Ethan, she said softly, do you even understand what this did to me? My whole life, I've been judged by my body. Overlooked. Treated like some consolation prize. When you chose me, I thought I finally mattered to someone. You do, Ethan said. More than you know. Then why didn't you tell me? She asked, turning back to him with wet eyes. Why did you let me fall for you while holding onto this horrible secret? Because I was afraid, he said. Afraid you'd think I was still that guy. Afraid you'd walk away. Afraid of losing the best thing that ever happened to me. Claire shook her head. Mark told me you only stayed with me because you didn't want to lose the bet. He said you were planning to leave once you won. That's a lie, Ethan said sharply. Mark wants to hurt me. He always has.
He couldn't stand that I changed.
That I wanted a real life with you. She studied him, trying to read the truth in his eyes. Do you love me? She asked finally. More than I've ever loved anyone. Then tell me why I should trust you. Her voice trembled. Because right now, I don't know if I'm your wife or your trophy. Ethan stepped closer. Because I'm willing to lose everything to prove it.
Claire blinked.
What does that mean? He took a shaky breath. I called my lawyer before I came here. I asked him to dissolve my holdings in the company, to release me from the board, to sign away most of my shares. She stared at him in shock. You what? I'm stepping down, Ethan said. No more billionaire lifestyle. No more ego. I don't want Mark, my old friends, or anyone defining my worth anymore. I don't want anything built on lies. He swallowed. I just want you. Claire's lips parted, stunned. But before she could answer, a loud creak echoed through the lighthouse. Footsteps coming up the stairs. Claire stiffened. Ethan turned, and then a voice drifted up. Wow, you actually did it. Mark appeared in the doorway, smirking. That's brave, Ethan. Stupid, but brave. Ethan's chest tightened. What are you doing here? Mark stepped into the room, hands casually in his pockets. Thought I'd come see the grand reunion. And maybe, his eyes flicked to Claire. Tell her the part you conveniently left out. Ethan's blood ran cold. What part? Claire whispered. Mark smiled. The real reason the bet was made. Mark's words hung in the air like a storm cloud. Claire steadied herself, gripping the railing as the wind whistled through the old lighthouse. Ethan stepped in front of her instinctively. "Mark, don't do this." "Oh, I'm absolutely doing this," Mark said, pacing slowly around the room. "Because Claire deserves the whole truth, not the edited version you fed her." Claire's voice trembled. "Just say it." Mark stopped, turning toward her with a cruel smile. The real reason the bet started wasn't just a dare, it was revenge. He pointed at Ethan. He made that bet because he was angry at his ex, angry at losing control of the board, angry at feeling small. Claire blinked. "What does that have to do with me?" "You were at the same charity event," Mark said. "Remember? The Hearts for Hope Gala fundraiser, downtown LA. Ethan saw you talking confidently with the mayor's wife. You laughed, you stood tall, you were happy. And his oh-so-fragile ego couldn't handle seeing a woman he didn't think fit this social mold outshine him." Ethan's jaw clenched. "That's a lie." "Is it?" Mark taunted. Claire's eyes filled again, not with tears, but with disappointment. "So the first moment you noticed me, you were mocking me?" Ethan shook his head desperately.
Claire, no.
"That's not how it was." Mark laughed. He told our whole group, "Watch me marry someone who's nothing like the LA socialites. Someone normal. Someone who won't leave me like my ex did." He wanted to prove he still had control. Claire flinched. Ethan turned to her, heart pounding. "Claire, listen, yes, I was hurting back then. I was stupid, reckless, angry at the world. But none of that was about you. When I actually met you, everything changed." Mark shrugged. "Doesn't matter. The reason he picked you was manipulation. End of story." "No," Ethan said sharply. "Not end of story." For the first time, Ethan didn't look afraid. He looked resolved. "Mark is telling the truth about one thing," Ethan admitted, voice steady. "I was angry. I was lost. And the moment I saw you, Claire, I noticed you for the wrong reason." Claire's breath caught. "But the moment I spoke to you," Ethan continued, "my entire life shifted. You were kind, genuine, quick-witted. You saw past the money, the suits, the name. You asked me about things no one had asked in years. You didn't care who I was. You cared who I could be." He stepped closer, emotion breaking through. "That night, you laughed at my terrible joke and told me I looked lonely in a room full of people. And you were right.
No one had ever seen me like that.
Not even I had seen myself." Claire swallowed hard, listening. "I swear to you," Ethan said, voice cracking, "every day after the wedding was real. Every moment, every late-night talk, every quiet breakfast. I fell for you, Claire. Not the idea of you, not the bet. You." Mark scoffed. "Touching." Ethan turned to him. "Get out." Mark raised a brow. "Excuse me? You've controlled my life long enough," Ethan said calmly. "You fueled the bet. You kept whispering in my ear. You wanted me to stay the arrogant idiot I used to be, so you'd never lose your hold on me." Mark stiffened. Ethan continued, "I'm done. With the board. With the old friends. With you." Mark's smirk faded. Claire watched, breath unsteady. Ethan turned back to her, eyes soft. "You asked why you should trust me. Here's why. I'm choosing you even if it means losing everything else." Silence filled the lighthouse, heavy, emotional, honest. Claire's lips trembled. "I didn't want to be someone's lesson, Ethan. I didn't want to be someone you discovered only after hurting." "I know," Ethan whispered. "And I'm sorry. Truly." She took a step toward him. "For the first time in your life," she said softly, "you told the truth even when it hurt." Ethan nodded, barely breathing. Claire exhaled shakily. "I don't know how to fix everything right away, but I know this. Your love was real. I felt it, and I still do." His eyes widened. She reached for his hand. "We'll rebuild.
Slowly.
Honestly. But only if you leave all this behind for good." "I already have," Ethan said. Claire leaned into him, and he held her. This time without secrets, without fear, without the past weighing on them. Mark muttered something under his breath, but neither of them looked at him anymore. They had their own ending, messy, painful, imperfect, but completely real, and that was enough. The Yendi